I want to thank Bill Cini for today, Carol Robidoux, Katie. All good stuff.
Congratulations.
Of course, the Spain brothers, Mickey and Liam Spain. Check them out at the Rex Theater on Saturday at 7:30. You can get tickets now over at the Palace Theater. Box office, Palace Theater website. So there you go. All right, keep it right here. You got Matt Connerton Unleash coming up at 4 p.m. Followed by Granite State of Mind. If you missed it on Friday night, Granite State of Mind tonight at 6 p.m. I guess that's going to do it. What do you got going on today, Kyle?
I'm going to do a little work and just be grateful for the Murphys and that awesome card.
I know. I'm gonna try to dive into that card.
It's awesome.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's.
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. I really wish you all a good Merry Christmas. I really do.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, 3 dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
You're listening to WMNH-LP, Manchester's radio. Broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Contact us at WMNH953@gmail.com or on our website, WMNHradio.org.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
From the studios of
I'm coming for you, I'm gonna make you understand. It's a great song, but I don't know it.
That is a great song. I agree. Whoever that was, that mysterious voice. Hey, everybody, welcome. Here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connerton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. By the way, that's that track that we opened with. That is the Stone Road Band, fronted by the great Kevin Horan, who is going to be playing live, which is why we're playing that song. In addition to, of course, it's just a great track. Kevin Horan, he also does solo shows as a singer-songwriter, and he is going to be live at the Hop Knot on Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. So we've been featuring some of his music this week to pump that up. He's kind of in the regular rotation there. It seems like he's there probably once a month as they do live music every Friday night. But yeah, he'll be there Friday night doing the solo thing. But I love his solo material, but I love that band too. That's the Stone Road Band. If you're looking for them online, that track is called Breakdown, one word, and really, really great. I love the guitar work in that. We'll probably play another song from the Stone Road Band at the top of the hour when we hit our 5 o'clock break, because just always nice to have an excuse to play that. So welcome, everybody. If you'd like to join us today on the program, 603-250-6007 is the number, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connerton. Tweet me while you still can. Oh boy, I'll tell you what, there's some changes at Twitter right now. There's some brand new cost-cutting measures. So if you've ever thought to yourself, my goodness, one of these days, I need to send Matt Connerton a tweet, I suggest you do it immediately. Don't wait another second, because any moment now, Twitter could be gone. It could be gone. I mean, we'll see. Maybe it never goes away. Who knows? But yeah, so you can tweet me at Matt Connerton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat, and we'll say hello to everybody in there in a moment. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and fully enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. By the way, I mentioned the Hop Knot. Kevin Horan playing there Friday night. Also, Trivia Night is tomorrow night, because today is Wednesday, so tonight's Industry Night. Tomorrow night's Trivia Night. And I've been told that the phone line there at the Hop Knot is not working. There's a problem. So you'll want to, if you're going to reserve a spot for Trivia Night tomorrow night, we always say, make sure you call ahead. Trivia Night, of course, is hosted by the great Bill Cini, who also does trivia on the morning show on Wednesday mornings. And he always reminds everybody, make sure you reserve a spot ahead of time, because Trivia Night at the Hop Knot on Thursdays is a very popular feature there, and those spots fill up very quickly. However, the phone line isn't working, so you can message them on social media, reach out to the Hop Knot on Instagram or Facebook, and let Kenny know that you're looking to reserve a spot. And just like I would implore you, if you're considering sending me a tweet, you don't want to put that off. You also don't want to put off reserving a spot for Trivia Night at the Hop Knot, because like I said, those spots fill up very, very quickly. So there you go. But again, if you'd like to join us today on the program, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. What is it about this time of day? I always hear, I don't think the mics pick them up. I don't think I hear them in the headphones, but I hear sirens outside. And it seems like every day between about 4 o'clock and 4:15 p.m., there's sirens Just probably a traffic accident somewhere. Or I think we've got some weather coming, but not yet. So I don't know what's going on out there, everybody. But let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. We'll see what's going on in here. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont joins us. Hello, Melanie. Also, Jason Fedderson says good afternoon. Let's see. Jason also in Vermont. Jason Fedderson asking if the tree on the research desk, or I usually call it the news desk, if it lights up. My understanding is it does not. I think yesterday when Paulie C was here for a bit, he was trying to see if there was a way to plug it in, but it is not a light up a tree. And we have a call, and I believe this is our friend Easy G on the line. Hello.
Hello. Hey, people might want to take it easy in the next couple of days. Starting Thursday night to Saturday morning, there's some kind of bad weather alert. The worst is Friday, I guess. We probably won't get a lot of snow around here, but it's going to be messy. A lot of rain. And,
yeah, I think up north is they're going to get a lot of snow. Here we might just get rain, hopefully.
Yeah, heavy rain, I guess.
Heavy rain.
Maybe some wind.
Heavy rain and some wind. Listen to you doing the weather.
I gotta expect it.
We should be. Now, I know you don't do the entertainment, or well, sometimes you do it, but how about Easy G? Have you ever considered being our meteorologist?
Yeah, I'd like to give that summer reports once in a while, yeah.
Because I can imagine you, I can imagine you on video, actually, in front of a green screen, pointing at various points on a map and saying, hey, over here it's going to rain, and over here it might snow, and over here it's going to be freezing rain, and over here it's going to be golf ball size hail, and you should all just stay inside. You could do that.
Yeah, I never, the Moose didn't like doing the weather, did he?
Well, I don't think it was
traffic.
I think it was traffic. I don't have that soundboard anymore, but yeah, I think traffic was the issue. This is a little bit of an inside reference, but longtime listeners will know. The Moose had an issue. He had an issue doing the traffic. That was how his time
we don't need to go there.
That was how. Well, you brought it up, but that was how his time.
Yeah, true. You're right. I brought it up. You're right. Don't replay it.
That was how his time as Peter White's co-host ended. He just. The Moose just wasn't feeling the traffic that day.
No, but he's been back many times, though. So
yes, of course.
Reconnected, which is
great. All is well. All is well. Absolutely.
It's funny talking about trivia. I wanted to kiss up Peter White if he's listening. Congratulations on winning trivia, second week in a row.
Oh, he did? Oh, on the morning show. Yes.
Yep. He's always funny about it. He says, I don't know who won last week. Oh, yeah, I did.
Speaking of Peter White and the morning show, I'm going to ask you, because I don't always get a chance to listen live. Usually I hear the replay.
Right.
But maybe you'll know this question, Eric, because you are an avid listener of the morning show. And do you actually participate in the death pool on the morning show?
I did.
Do you know, let me ask you, and then if you don't know, I'll have to ask Peter. I'll have to call in, maybe tomorrow morning I'll call in. I rarely get a chance to actually call in, but I'm not a morning person, as I've explained. But what I'm curious about the death pool that they do on the morning show, do you know, Eric, does it have to be a person? Does it have to be an actual human? Because I would like to put Twitter into the death pool.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. That's something about Peter White. He started that crazy death pool.
Yeah.
Me and him are tied. I had the Queen, and he had Olivia Newton-John.
Has it always been only people? I'd like to put Twitter into the death pool, but if you don't know the answer, I'll just.
I guess up to Peter. I
have
no idea.
I'll have to find out.
I don't do well speaking for Peter. You know that.
That's true. When you speak for Peter, terrible things happen, and I mean, Taco Gate was probably the worst scandal ever of the century.
Yeah, I sent you an email. I don't know if you want to read them all, but it was about that crypto there, that guy in trouble there.
Yes.
And Tom Brady and Giselle and a couple other people have their footprints in there, but according to some of the articles, said they shouldn't be in trouble. But the crypto money, though, I don't know, you know.
I don't know.
The guy ripped off a lot of people, but do you think he'll go to jail?
Oh, definitely. Eric, they're saying now that this is, you're talking about Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF as they're calling him. This is the largest financial fraud perpetrated in the history of the country. This is bigger than Bernie Madoff with the pyramid schemes. This
my
is
God, really?
oh yeah. This is it.
I
This
didn't read
is
much of the article. I just heard about it.
You just heard about it.
I with the article.
This is the largest financial fraud ever in the history of the United States. This is a
Well, Tom
big
Brady
deal.
and Zell invested some money in it or something, or they have their footprints on it. I don't think they're going to be in trouble, will they?
No, I mean, as far as I know, it's Sam Bankman-Fried and his company that did the the malfeasance, if you will. Crystal,
I know you like a lot of sport. You like a lot of sports headaches. You know what? Not trivia, but scandals.
Crystal in the chat room says they arrested the crypto guy in the Bahamas. Yes, he is currently being held in the Bahamas, and his attorneys are trying to fight him being extradited to the United States. But it's Jenny said that he's fighting extradition. But of course, I mean it's inevitable.
Yeah.
All they can do is try to hold it off.
Sorry.
All they can do is try to hold off extradition. They're not going to be able to. To bar it from
I'll leave
happening.
it with this side of the.
Yes.
I'll hang up and listen. But I'll just listen, I guess. I always think of you when they say, "Oh, this Thursday the government's going to run out of money." Well, we well know that can't happen.
Well, it can happen actually if we default. If the United States were to go into default on the full faith and credit of the United States Treasury, we could run out of money. But hopefully that never happens. Although there are people who would be perfectly happy to
if it
take
does
us
happen,
over
we're
that
in
cliff.
trouble, right?
Yes. If we were to go, by the way, I'm not talking about, for anyone who's confused, I'm not talking about a government shutdown. That happens all the time, actually. It happens more often than it should. I'm talking about actual default, which would be a first in the history of the United States. If that ever happens, it could send the entire global economy down a toilet, which we will not be able to unflush.
Oh, yeah, that's why it will never happen.
Well, it's come perilously close. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What? That's not good.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, leave me one more final crazy thing I saw on the
crazy
on the internet.
thing?
It says he's going into his bunker there, the Russian president there,
Oh.
because there's a big flu epidemic. You know, he's scared of that stuff.
Yeah, he is. He
Going into a bunker.
During COVID, the height
Right.
of COVID in Russia, he was very insulated from everybody. Apparently, that's part of why when you see those images, it's almost cartoonish. But when you see, for example, when Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, went over there to for a summit with Putin, and they're at opposite ends of this.
Yeah.
This enormous table. Apparently, Putin is really paranoid. Well, paranoid isn't the right word to use because I think it's a legitimate thing to be concerned about. But he is very concerned about catching COVID-19. So he's very cautious.
He should be concerned about someone maybe looking for his head.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah, he's so insulated and he's not stupid. So I'm sure he knows that there are people.
I
who
don't know
would,
about that.
I'm sure he's aware that there are people who would like to get in close to him and.
Yeah, I read a quick article about the Russians are running out of ammo, so they might have to go back to like 30 or 40-year-old ammo, which they say is not really reliable.
Yeah, they already are, Eric. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, they're using
ammunition
that's 40 years old at this point because they're running out of ammunition.
Oh my God! Like you said earlier, when this whole fiasco started, it couldn't end up worse for Russia.
Yeah,
they thought the Ukraine would just lay down and be 3 days to be out of there. I mean, it would just take over.
Yeah, they thought, go in, take over the country, depose the government, annex the whole thing, and then roll the tanks right back out. That's what he thought. He
thought wrong.
Reminds me of, it's a false equivalence, but it does remind me a little bit of when we invaded Iraq and Dick Cheney made the rounds on the Sunday morning shows and said we'd be greeted as liberators. Didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah.
Did not work out that way.
I remember George Jr. there when he had what's that thing he had on the boat there? Accomplished or
Mission accomplished. He had that big mission accomplished.
Yeah, that was egg on his face. Big egg on his face.
Yes, it was. Although I don't think he had the good sense to realize the mistake, even when it became apparent to everyone else. But yeah,
I did vote for the Bushes, but boy, they love war.
Yes.
Like to start wars.
Well, you know what I say? War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Right. His father started the war, and his son tried to keep it going. Oh boy.
Well, his father actually, George H.W. Bush, when he sent the troops in to kick Iraq out of Kuwait, he could have gone further. Schwarzkopf wanted him to actually go in and invade Iraq.
Yeah,
And,
as you well know,
and he said no.
War is we got more money spent on military than anything in the country of America. In the United States, we spend more money on that than anything else.
Well, it is our greatest export.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Absolutely.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll end it with that, and I'll hang up and listen.
All right, Eric. Thank you for the call, my friend.
Boy, you should have known by now. Easy dope.
All right, that was Easy G. We're trying to transition him, not that way, but from being our entertainment reporter into chief meteorologist. I think that would be a fine, because he can do that from anywhere, really. He just has to look up the weather and call in. I think that's a good, obviously it is less responsibility than the entertainment report, which means we'll have to decrease his pay and get him to sign a new contract. But, we'll work on that. My agent will have to contact his agent, and we'll go from there. But 603-250-6007 if you would like to join us today on the program, 603-250-6007. And we'll say hello to the rest of the fine folks in the Facebook live chat. And I do see some more people coming in. Oh, Nick Murdoch is in the chat room and says, Shalom, peeps. Hello, Nick. And looks like our friend Ron is on the line. Hi, Ron.
How you doing, Matt? Easy sounded good, which is good to hear.
He does sound good today.
I just saw in today's newspaper that a person from New York, U.S. citizen, but just got arrested, him and some other person, for sending arms and ammunition and communication-type electronics to Russia. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't. I don't think I caught this specific story. Or actually, no, maybe I did catch something about it, but I don't know all the specifics. But so these people are from New York who are doing this?
Yeah.
You're right, Ron?
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to adjust the phone.
I didn't know what was going on.
The volume on my end was low.
Ah, I see. I didn't know if you were, if you were nude and the phone got stuck in something.
Well, I am nude. If you want. Well, I shouldn't say nude. I got a t-shirt on.
Well, that's nearly nude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So these guys are New Yorkers. They're real New Yorkers, but they're actually Russian sympathizers. It sounds like.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Do we know?
And the only other.
Oh, go ahead, Ron. No, go ahead, Ron. You go ahead.
And the only thing else I was going to say is, if you want the tree to light up, let me know. I'll put on some clothes and I'll come over. I got some matches.
Yes. Well, I would be concerned about these sprinklers, Ron, especially in a room which, as you know, is filled with electronic equipment. I think that might cause a larger problem than it would solve.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it even for $1 million. Well, maybe for $1 million.
For $1 million, I'd help you.
Blasphemy! It's blasphemy, you know.
Split it with me, you know. For $1 million, sure.
Yeah.
What's a little arson?
All right, I don't want to sit here and yap. I'm listening on the show, but Easy sounded good, and I caught that on the radio today.
Yeah, no, I'm glad.
On the newspaper.
Yes, yeah. I will look up that story. Perhaps we will discuss it.
All right, sir.
All right, very good. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate the call.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Ron leaves us, and that opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Let's see who else we got in here. I mentioned Nick Murdoch. Jenny, of course, is in the chat room and says, Shalom, peeps. Also, Mike Palapita from Queen City Cabinetry in the historic Sunbeam Mall, one of our wonderful sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 FM. Also, I see Rocky Huber in the chat room. Nick was asking Matt, who's, I assume, referring to the song that we played. Of course, again, if you're just joining us, we opened with the track Breakdown by the Stone Road Band. Kevin Horn from the Stone Road Band is doing the singer-songwriter thing, the solo act at the Hop Knot on Friday night. Let's see. We mentioned Crystal, our friend from Illinois, is in the chat. Jason Fedderson says, "Oh, I thought it was the research desk. Now that Matty Juno sits there." Oh, interesting. Yes, I don't. Is that what he calls it? Does he call it the research desk during the morning show? Tom Blanchard joins us in the chat and says, "I'll disagree with your Brittany Griner opinion, but that's okay. We all have our own opinions." Oh, well, I assume you're referring to Brittany Griner, although you could be referring, of course, to Britney Spears. But although I don't really have much of an opinion on her, so I'm going to assume it's Brittany Griner. Let's see. I thought I saw somebody else pop in here. Oh, here we go. And Saturn, yes, the Greensboro, North Carolina contingent is in the house. And Saturn says, "Hello, hashtag Matt, and hi, hashtag Jenny. We say to you, and we have a Christmas tree." Well, very nice. Very nice, and Saturn. Oh, boy. Let's see. Oh, there we go. DJ Midas is in the chat room. Midas says, "Listening live, rare treat." Yes, it's nice to see you in there. John Midas Manning, of course, a very important part of the WMNH family. Midas has his own show here, Late Night Delight, which airs every Saturday night, beginning at midnight all the way to 4 a.m. with a replay on Sunday night if you miss it. Nice to see you in there, Midas. I'm glad you're listening. Crystal says, I said it was inevitable that Sam Bankman-Fried will be extradited to the United States from the Bahamas. Crystal says, "I don't know if it's inevitable. He will definitely be extradited. Look at Roman Polanski. He's been convicted of child rape from the 1970s and still in France or somewhere evading prison here in U.S. That's true. I do think, though, Sam Bankman-Fried will be executed. They're going to move, not executed, I'm sorry. I have something else on the mind, which I'll get to. Extradited. I don't think he'll be executed, nor will I... Nor would I want that. No, but I do think he'll be extradited. I think they're going to move heaven and earth to extradite him if it comes to that, because, like I said, this is being tagged by the media, by the committee that's investigating this in Congress, and everybody is saying this is the largest financial fraud in the history of the United States. So they're going to do whatever they have to do to get him, I think. Nick Murdoch says, "We have to spend tons of money on the military. If we didn't, we might end up with something horrific like socialized medicine." Socialized is in all caps. Yeah, that is true. I mean, I do think about that. Look, I support helping Ukraine, but it does occur to me that, well, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you know my position. I don't necessarily support socialized medicine per se, but I do believe that in the richest, most successful, most prosperous, most innovative country in the history of the world, the United States, you're never going to convince me that we just can't figure out a way to afford to make sure that every single American has access to adequate, or preferably better than adequate, health care. And we are the only modern industrialized nation that consistently fails to make sure that every single American has access to adequate, or preferably better than adequate, health care. And it is unacceptable in my view. And it is true. We do seem to have a bottomless pit of money when it comes to something like buying weapons for Ukraine. And yet, in the United States, there are people right now rationing their insulin. For example, just one example of a million examples of what goes wrong here with the healthcare system in the United States, and it is unacceptable. I mean, I support Medicare for all who want it, for example, which I think that was the Pete Buttigieg plan, right? In the 2020 primaries and the debates, he was talking about Medicare, not Medicare for all, but Medicare for all who want it. But yeah, everyone should have access to healthcare, and it is unacceptable that not everyone does. Or well, actually, I shouldn't say that. You know what? Probably just about everyone does have access to some degree of healthcare, but it's not necessarily adequate, and in many cases, you'll go into bankruptcy trying to access the healthcare that you need. In fact, and we've talked about it on the show, actually not that long ago, not too many months ago, we talked about, we had a long conversation on the program about how Medical bankruptcy is the number one reason why people in the United States file for personal bankruptcy. More than any other reason, it is medical bills. People go into medical debt. And those who do argue for either socialized medicine or Medicare for all or some sort of public option or something to keep people from falling through the cracks, they make a very compelling argument. And it is that people falling through the cracks end up costing us money. You know, they rack up this medical debt, the debt gets written off. So, you know, it does end up getting paid for one way or another in some form or fashion. You could actually save having all that debt piling up by just making sure that everyone has access to healthcare. So the idea that, well, you can't have everyone having access to healthcare because it will cost too much. Well, how much do you think all the medical debt is costing the American economy every single year? How much do you think the medical debt is cost? The medical debt, you know, we all end up paying for it because if somebody can't afford to pay their medical bills and they end up going into bankruptcy and then somebody's got to eat that, right? Like say you know, the hospital, they're not going to recoup that money. You know, that affects it has a ripple effect. It affects everybody in a negative way. So we all end up paying for it one way or another in the end. And our friend Shannon is on the line. Hi, Shannon.
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay. I had a comment about the medical care.
Yes.
The only bad thing is, and I don't know, I'm not going to point fingers and whatever because I don't know. No dentists will take Medicare or Medicaid.
Jenny and I were having a conversation just this week, actually, about the state of dental care and paying for it. Yeah.
Well, nobody thinks teeth are important, I guess, but Medicaid they'll extract a tooth for you, but they don't do any preventative care.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's because the dentists don't accept it. I don't know how that goes. I think they're the only doctors in the field of doctors that don't are allowed to not accept it.
Yeah, Jenny says that in the chat. Medicare does not cover dental. Yeah, and you know what, Shannon? You know what's particularly ridiculous about that is that, and a lot of people don't realize this, but I think some people certainly are aware that your teeth does affect the health of your teeth does affect your overall health. So it's very important. I am fortunate. I got lucky genetically on this. I have excellent teeth, but I was born to two parents who have excellent teeth and are very resistant to cavities. So I've actually never even had a cavity. So I'm really fortunate. But I got lucky genetically on that because as the child of two parents with like super teeth, I just have like super indestructible teeth. But
well, I only had one with super teeth. The other one's got false teeth, and so I got the other end of the bargain.
Yeah. This sounds like it. But yeah, it's frustrating. Your teeth do affect your overall health, so it actually would make sense. And that's the thing. And that goes to my larger point about how if everybody could somehow get preferably better than adequate coverage, it would actually save the economy in the macro sense, money. We would save money in this economy instead of all these people. Again, like I said, medical bankruptcy is the number one reason for bankruptcy in the United States.
Yeah.
And we just accept that as a society. It's absurd.
It's because nobody, well, you know, it's kind of like what I'm going through here. They just refuse to shovel the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And it's building code. The owner of the building needs to have clear sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to do it though.
Have you complained? Have you brought it up? Or
I brought it up. All right. I had when I signed my lease. I said, listen, someone's either going to have to come to my door and get the trash on Tuesday mornings, or make it safe for me to take my own trash out without bodily harm.
Yeah.
You know?
And what do you bring it up to them? What happens? What do they say?
Oh, we're not going to do that.
do they?
That's what he said. And I said, you know, I used to live in a place where I took care of everything. I shoveled everything. Everything was shoveled. There was no ice anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, was at a one-family home that there's 100 people here. Well, I wish I had thought to say that's 100 cases of liability
Mm-hmm.
when they fall, but I didn't think of it.
Right. But that is a valid point. But I don't blame you. It's like when we had the I forget her. Oh, Jessica. When we had the Jessica, the tenants advocate here. We need to get her back on. It's such a big subject, and there's certainly more to discuss. But we were talking with her that day about how a lot of people, and actually she brought it up, how a lot of people are afraid. Very often, tenants are afraid to speak up and stand up for their rights as a tenant, because the way the market is right now, if you, for some reason, if your landlord finds some excuse to evict you, the market is so tight as far as housing that your next stop is probably a homeless shelter. I mean, literally. I don't even say that hyperbolically. That literally is the case right now. There's no affordable
Maybe that's
housing.
why I haven't put my heat on. I'm preparing myself.
Conditioning, yeah. But yeah, well, it's I mean, conditioning yourself for no, but yeah, I don't. I mean, geez, in a different climate, no pun intended, I would suggest that you really kind of force the issue with your landlord and go to the city and complain and whatnot. But because of the way things are right now, I wouldn't advise anyone to do that, because you don't want to give your landlord any excuse to turn around and find a reason to get rid of you because they think you're a pain in the backside. It's a terrible situation. Sorry, go ahead, Shannon.
Seeing hundreds of thousands of people just heard me say they don't do anything here. I mean, are you going to throw me out because you can't shovel?
Right.
And I don't want to fall. So
yeah,
it ticks me off because a lot of people are afraid to say something because when they have said something in the past, next thing they know, they get in the boat and they have to find some other place to live, or their rent goes up a ridiculous amount.
Oh yeah, that's the common play is you annoy your landlord, then when it's time to renew your lease, it's like, oh, here's a $500 increase for you, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's bad.
And if you're someone like me, you just don't have people, you don't know people who know people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know people over the phone, but I don't know people who know people to say, hey, we'll take care of this,
Mm-hmm.
get it done.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough spot. Has it always been that way where you live, where they neglect?
Since I moved here October of 2019.
Oh, okay. So they're consistent with their neglect.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's too bad, Shannon. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, I just try to walk slowly.
That's all you can do.
Or in the street, which isn't, real good idea when traffic is, around. At 4 o'clock in the morning, there's no one around.
True.
I walk in the middle of the street then. I don't do it when there's traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough spot, Shannon. I'm sorry to hear that, but I wish I had some good advice, but
yeah.
Honestly, my first impulse is don't say anything. Yeah. Because again, if you're a renter, Jenny and I are renters, we know it's like you don't dare right now. You don't dare say anything,
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Well, I am going to put a note up on the wall and say, put a bucket of sand here.
Oh, yeah,
on the inside of the door, so at least we can put some sand down.
That's a good idea. Maybe they'll do that. Hopefully they'll do that. Or maybe someone in your building, maybe somebody else who lives in your building will do that. Will step up and volunteer to at least get some sand.
Yeah, I don't know, but I did want to say Easy sounded good this morning.
Yeah, he does sound good. Yeah, sometimes he sounds a little. I heard
he sounded better this morning than he did this afternoon. Not that he sounded bad, just that he sounded like more tired tonight than he did this morning.
Oh, see, I heard his call into the morning show, and I thought he sounded more tired this morning. I thought he sounded better this afternoon, a little more lucid.
Well, I just hope he's rid of what it was that was really bothering him there. With
yeah, he said he's not feeling well, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he'll kick it in the butt.
I hope so. He will. He's easy G. He'll
And
overcome.
I still have something for him. I'm going to mail. To you guys, and you guys can mail it to him.
Oh. All right.
It's nothing spectacular.
Okay.
But it might help him. So.
Oh, good.
Anyway.
All right. Very good.
All right, I'll be listening.
All right.
Take care.
All right, Shannon. Thank you for the call. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Very nice. Always nice to hear from Shannon. That does open up the line for you. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007 on this busy show so far. A busy Wednesday, which is good. We like it that way. Rocky's saying, yeah, okay. Rocky and I think a couple other people in the chat were saying too, it's actually the story that Ron was talking about. It's actually people from New Hampshire, unless there's other people from New York. It was people from New Hampshire who are involved with this whole weapons thing for Russia. Yeah, Jenny told me about the New Hampshire one. So maybe we'll look at that in the second hour. Unless there's more than one story of this and more than one geographic area, which is certainly possible. And Saturn in the chat says, we will be performing this Sat evening. It's karaoke night at Sawmill 2 in Greensboro, North Carolina on December 17th, 2022 at 7 to 10 p.m. We'll have a wonderful time, and Saturn. Have a wonderful time. Yeah, Jenny said, I showed you the story about the guy arrested in Merrimack. Oh, was he from New York but arrested in Merrimack? Is that what it is? Mike Pelopita thinks Ron was putting his pants on, and that's why the kerfuffle with the phone. Crystal says, yeah, that was Merrimack, New Hampshire, where the Russian spies were caught, Ron. Okay, very good. Very good. Oh, Crystal shared a link to the story. Yeah, we'll look at that in a moment. Tom Blanchard said, and this is regarding referring to Brittany, his Brittany Griner comment earlier, being laughed at for not watching the sports that don't televise the national anthem is a real thing. Protesting NFL and NBA, they all suck. Who's laughing at you? Like, people are laughing at you about that, Tom? I mean, that's your right. I mean, I personally don't have a problem with protests generally as long as it's nonviolent. Well, you know my position, but I mean, are people actually laughing at you? And Saturn says, we're going to be a new sensation. Oh, I like your optimism. We say these Russians going out of their minds, we say, #Matt. And Saturn also says, we say that we will be doing it something special next year of 2023 and performing for at Max Speed Shop Karaoke Night, January 6, 2023 at 7 to 10 p.m. Very good. Tom Blanchard says, Matt, have you seen the salaries for being a doctor lately? It's a little out of control, greedy, if you ask me. Yeah, I don't know. The thing that I always hear, and no, I mean, I don't know any of the numbers, Tom, but the one thing that I always hear in response from that to that though, from people in the medical field is doctors have to have high salaries because for one thing, they've got enormous bills as far as education, obviously, after going to med school and so forth. And also too, the cost to carry malpractice insurance and things like that make it actually very expensive to be a doctor. But I don't know much more about that than that. Miriam Banish says, good afternoon. Hello, Miriam. Scott Robinson says, again, we were talking about medical costs. Scott says, yes, the people who do have insurance pay the difference through insurance. An ambulance ride for my son from Silly Road to the Elliott cost over $400. Oh yeah. Ambulance rides are very expensive. Absolutely. Crystal says it antagonizes many health issues, referring to teeth. Yeah, very important to take care of your teeth. Absolutely. Jason Fedderson says they would rather pull a tooth than fix it. Be careful, Shannon. They will just kick you out. Tom Blanchard says the doctors always seem to charge the maximum for no matter what it is, never the minimum. Medical billing too tends to be complex. I can't claim to understand it. Of course, I'm not even good at math. Scott I made a funny comment that I probably shouldn't read, so I won't. But that's funny, Scott. And then Saturn said a cleaner version of Scott's comment. We say Shannon has a perfect, smooth voice. # Matt. Yes, absolutely. And I believe our friend Easy G is back on the line. Hello.
Hey, thank you, Shannon, for that small gift, but there's no sense mailing it twice. I just, I texted Peter White, and I gave him permission to give Shannon my address. That way she could just mail it here. No sense, mailing it to Peter, mailing it here. It's kind of silly.
Okay, so you want...
I have no way of contacting Sharon, so I gave permission to Peter White to give her my address. So
very good.
So,
this is what they call logistics. So you're giving,
right.
and it's public now that you've said this. So if anyone wants to challenge it, so you are publicly granting permission to Peter White to give Shannon your address.
That way, Peter don't have to get and me the middleman. Just whatever it is, send it here. I appreciate it. By the way, whatever it is.
Yes. I hope it's
So there you
something
go.
good. Maybe it's chocolate chip cookies. Would you enjoy that?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm grateful to have it. So that way, Peter wants to mail it here. It seems kind of silly. So
I think it's chocolate chip cookies. I'm psychic now. I just became psychic.
all right.
It just happened.
Oh yeah, I'll leave it this way. So I was listening to a video about Catholic Minute, and they were saying, we're gonna make your own pizza. And you wanted pineapples on top. You wanted a Hawaiian pizza. So when they came back from going somewhere, laying on the in the middle of right in front of the door was a pizza, and the girl said, "I bet that's a Hawaiian pizza." And somebody went to the wrong address, I guess, so they gave themselves a free pizza, and I opened it up, it was Hawaiian pizza with pineapples on it. I thought of you.
That's disgusting. And this is on this was on the Catholic Minute?
Yeah, the people that talk about their religion and stuff, and they're a Catholic family. They have 7 children.
Well, of course. I find it odd.
That's how you can make money, though. You do videos to have supplies for their children.
It's
You
interesting.
make a lot of money on those videos, believe it or not, because people give you money.
It is interesting to me.
Not me, though. But.
Right. It's interesting to me, Eric, that it's the Catholic Minute and they talk about religion, and yet they're encouraging pineapple on pizza, which everyone knows is a sin against God.
Yeah, well, that's only your opinion. I saw you was having some pineapples last night in a little container.
It's more than my opinion. I looked it up.
All right, I clogged up the radio on enough, and there you go. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right, Easy G.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the call. Bye-bye.
Known by now, Easy Doe.
All right, Easy G. Mixing theology with pineapple. That's very dangerous. I wouldn't do that. That does open up the line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Crystal, our friend from Illinois, points out in the chat room, and not all hospitals take certain insurances. I ran into this problem with Blue Cross Blue Shield here in Illinois. With an ER visit in 2007, I had to fight to have them cover the ER visit. Weren't in network with hospital. They eventually covered the room, but I had to pay the radiologist, ER doc, lab techs, cardiologist, and blood transfusions out of my own pocket. Took years to pay off. When I worked at New Hampshire Hospital in the 80s and 90s, they were happy you had insurance. Apparently not anymore. Yeah, I've seen what Jenny goes through. I see what Jenny goes through in real time with insurance, and it is an absolute nightmare, and it shouldn't be that way in this country. And by the way, too, when you were talking about hospitals not accepting certain types of insurance and whatnot, and then you've got the whole in-network, out-of-network thing, that's the reason, too, because I have heard people say so many times, and I used to say it, too. I don't say it anymore. People say, well, you should be able to buy insurance across state lines. It should be no different than buying, people will often use this analogy. It should be no difference than purchasing car insurance, where you just go to a website and it doesn't matter where you are, where the company is, you just buy the insurance for your state. Although even car insurance is regulated by individual states, but anyway, so it's not even a good, but that's the comparison that I hear people make. The problem with that is it always sounds good, right? It sounds good. Yeah, you should be able to, just no matter where you're living, you should be able to buy insurance from anywhere. But the problem is, just because if you're in New Hampshire and there's an insurance company in Colorado that doesn't cover people living in New Hampshire, but now all of a sudden, let's say there was a new federal law that no more boundaries as far as insurance coverage. So now this insurance company in Colorado can cover people in New Hampshire. Oh, great. And this insurance company in Colorado has a cheap rate, low copays, low deductible. Oh, it's perfect, right? Perfect for me. Here's the problem, though. That insurance company in Colorado that didn't used to cover people in New Hampshire, that now in our alternative universe that we've imagined now suddenly can cover people in New Hampshire, they don't have relationships established with doctors' offices and hospitals here in New Hampshire. They don't have a relationship with the existing medical infrastructure in New Hampshire, which means, great, you can now buy insurance across state lines. You can buy insurance from that insurance company in Colorado. Only problem is it's not going to do you a damn bit of good because they're not going to cover anything that you do here in New Hampshire. See, so that's the problem, because people talk about it like it's this panacea. Oh, it's so simple. I know how to fix the health insurance problem. You just make it so you can buy insurance from anywhere. It's been tried. It's been tried. There are clusters of states in the country where you've got 3 or 4 states where they've tried to do something, tried to create a larger network of insurance companies across, a tri-state area. And it just didn't work. It doesn't work unless the insurance companies have established relationships with the medical system in your area. Wherever you buy it from, it doesn't, great, you've got a low premium and low copays and a low deductible, except you can't get anything covered where you are. So it just doesn't work that way. It's not that simple. It should be. It should be in a perfect, or not even a perfect world, but in a better one than the one in which we live. You should be able to buy insurance, and you can go anywhere, and your insurance will pay for it wherever you need to go to get your care. Because again, for it to be any other way, and maybe that is socialized medicine, but no, I'm not for dismantling and putting the insurance companies out of business. Some people want to do that, like Elizabeth Warren, with just have Medicare for all and and that would be socialized medicine effectively, or close to it, right? And then you get rid of the insurance companies completely. I'm not saying I'm in favor of that, because you're talking about, that would be such a disruption, and I would be just worried about what could potentially go wrong with that. So, because when we talk about healthcare, we're talking about, 1/7 of our gross domestic product in this country, our GDP. 1/7 of the economy, in other words. So to disrupt that, you'd want to do so very carefully, right? So I'm not for just saying, just put the insurance companies out of business and just have socialized medicine. But I do think that insurance companies should not be allowed to say no. If you're paying for insurance, or your employer is paying for your insurance, which you pay for because they take it out of your check, your insurance company shouldn't be allowed to say, oh, you have this terrible illness. Oh, you want to use this treatment that will probably help you. Well, sorry, we found an excuse to decline that, and we're not going to pay for it. And so even though you have insurance, it's like Elizabeth Warren did say once, and I'm not a big Elizabeth Warren fan, but something I've heard her say whenever she discusses health insurance, because she'll talk about, well, people say, well, what about me? I want to keep my insurance. I'm happy with my insurance. And she said, yeah, everyone's happy with their health insurance. Right up to the point that they actually need to use it. Oh, people are happy with their health insurance when they're just, they go to the doctor for their annual physical, or, they just go for a simple thing, minor stuff, right? They go to the doctor they pay the copay, the visit's covered, they never even see the bill, perhaps, But then when something real, like something severe, something catastrophic happens, all of a sudden, now they're on top of dealing with their illness, now they're dealing with their insurance company. Now they're locked in some sort of a battle with their insurance company on top of being sick and having to worry about their own health. Oh yeah, everyone loves their health insurance right up to the point that they really, really need it. And then they find out how much insurance companies suck. You know what? Actually, the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm almost talking myself into saying, maybe we should get rid of the insurance companies and just have socialized medicine. And would that be so bad? People complain, if you have socialized, look at Canada. They actually have to wait for procedures. If you're in Canada and you have to have some sort of a medical procedure done, you have to wait for it. You can't just get it immediately. And it's like, yeah, no kidding. Kind of like how it is here. Right? I mean, if you need emergency surgery, that's one thing. But if it's not an emergency or some sort of elective surgery or whatever, yeah, you usually have to wait a little bit, don't you? I don't know. But the way it is now is not acceptable. I know people will come up with a million excuses and rationalizations and justifications and reasons why you just can't fix it. And I say BS. There are solutions. We can argue about what it should be, what it shouldn't be. But don't tell me we can't fix it. Again, my baseline on this matter is this. We live in the most successful, most innovative, most prosperous country in the history of the world. And based on that, I will never accept the idea that, when it comes to healthcare, there's just nothing we can do. We just got to live with the system as it is. We just can't fix it. Sorry. We can do all kinds of other great things, but we can figure out how to launch a satellite into space and change the trajectory of was it an asteroid or a meteor or whatever? We can do that. We can figure out how to do that. But we can't figure out how to let a poor person get an emergency surgery without being forced into bankruptcy at the emergency room. We can't figure that out. Sorry, Matt. We just can't figure that one out. The healthcare system will just have to continue to suck. There's nothing we can do about that. I don't accept it. I do not accept it. Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yes. I wanted to say that thanks to Ron calling in and mentioning what he read in the paper. Those two clowns, instead of just, supplying weapons, they ought to move there if they like them so much.
Oh, move to Russia?
Yeah.
Well, they probably wouldn't like that much. It's hard to get weapons in Russia. See what I did there?
New York and go live there.
Yeah.
The other, two things real quick.
Yes.
There are grants out there that someone had told me Easter seals could help, get a partial plate or whatever.
Yeah.
For teeth. And I said, you don't have to be in the program or anything? She said, no. I said, okay. Called up. Well, you have to be 60.
Ah.
Or 65.
Uh-huh.
So there is help out there if you're the right age.
Yes.
And the Medicare Part D plan, that's wonderful because you have to fiddle around with what insurance you're going to use for your prescriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's not on their formulary, it's a fight for the doctor's office to put through a prior authorization, so they do accept it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's all just, it's sickening.
Shouldn't have to fiddle around with anything. Not in the United States. You know what? The more I'm thinking about it, I'm actually talking myself into just going full bore favoring socialized medicine. If people want to call me a communist for that, they can. But I just,
If anybody ever wants to eat a nice hard taco again, don't do that because then you can't get your teeth done.
I prefer a soft taco anyway. Actually, I like the bean burrito. If I go to Taco Bell, not that I ever do.
I like the chalupas.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, making me hungry.
Those are soft.
Yes. Well, I can eat whatever.
Call waiting. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye, Shannon. All right, nice to hear from Shannon again, and we'll see. Somebody else was calling in. I think they might be gone, though. Yep, they're gone. Caller, if you'd like to try back, go ahead. We are do so soon, though, because we are coming up to the break. Yeah, I think I just talked myself into it. I think I'm in favor of socialized medicine. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding. I remember a couple of years ago, I was talking about, I'm gonna vote for Bernie Sanders. This was, Biden ended up being the nominee for the Democrats, but I remember saying, if Bernie's the nominee, I'll vote for him if he can get everyone health coverage. I mean, it's not, again, people say, oh, but then, well, we're going to pay for that with our tax dollars. Yeah, we're paying for it. We're paying for all the uninsured people anyway. We are. We all end up absorbing the cost. What's the difference? What's the difference? Put everyone on one big government program, screw the insurance companies because they are evil fundamentally anyway. And it's not that, look, I'm a free market capitalist. You think I like feeling this way? I would prefer again, there's no perfect world, but in a better world than the one in which we live, I would prefer that we could have a for-profit healthcare system, but a for-profit healthcare system where not only do people make lots of money, like the insurance companies and big pharma, and everybody makes lots of money, and everyone has great healthcare. Can we have that? But if we can't have that, then I guess we can't have a for-profit healthcare system anymore. So I guess I'm just done with for-profit healthcare. I'm done with it. I'm ready. Again, call me a communist if you want to. I don't care. I'm gonna start wearing no, never mind. I was gonna make a joke that might be a little too far. Hey, Ron, what's up?
Yeah, that wasn't me that called, but I got a quick question, then I'll take the answer off the air.
Yes.
How did Donald Trump, because I just don't remember, there's too much going on. How did Donald Trump handle the health care? Did he improve it at all? And that's my question. All right, bye-bye.
All right, Ron, thank you. Bye-bye. I don't remember if Trump, Mike Doyle sent me a list of things that Trump had done in an email. I don't remember if there was anything specifically about healthcare. I know there was something regarding insulin, which I think ended up getting dealt with in another bill that I can't remember now. I don't know. I mean, Trump did say during the 2016 debates something about, we're going to have health care for everybody. We're not going to let people die in the streets and whatnot. But, people say things and then nothing changes. There's still people, like I said, there's still people rationing insulin. There's still people who can't get medical care, people who desperately need operations that they can't figure out a way to get, people who are driven into bankruptcy because of medical debt. It goes on and on. Nick Murdoch says in the chat room, when I lived in Oklahoma, I worked in a group home and we would transport residents 100 miles to Oklahoma City just to get to a dentist who would accept Medicaid. Wow. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Shouldn't be that way. Jason Fedderson says there is a lot of physical therapists that won't accept Medicare as well because they don't reimburse a fair amount. That's a problem too. Yeah, a lot of providers won't accept Medicare because they can charge, they get more from an insurance company than they do from Medicare. So that needs to be addressed. Yeah, Crystal says, I think it's like 40 cents to the dollar. Wow. Miriam Banish says, I have two service providers who went out of network. So my out of pocket went from $20 to $120 for one and $40 to $100 for another. I found out that my insurance does have an option for continuation of care. Now I have to figure out the paperwork to keep my providers. Of course, and there's paperwork to figure out. It's ridiculous. Jason said, sorry, Medicaid is what I meant to say. I get them confused in my mind too, Jason. I get Medicare and Medicaid mixed up all the time. I can't keep them straight. Crystal says, most of my labs for lupus and rheumatoid arthritis always fell under the out-of-network blanket, so Blue Cross never covered them because they are specialty labs that had to be sent out to other labs, not done in-house. Every 3 months, and it's a lot of blood work, sometimes 12 vials worth. Oh my God. Yeah. That's it. I'm all the way there. I'm not even, this isn't a bit, by the way. I'm completely serious right now. It's clicked in my brain. I'm in favor of socialized medicine. Screw it. Seriously. Make whatever new tax you have to make. it's actually going to save money in the long run for the country. I just and then just everything's covered. Just everything's covered. That's it. I'm done. I don't even want to hear about any other possible solutions. I don't want to hear about health savings accounts. I don't want to hear any of it. Let's have socialized medicine. I don't care. Tom Blanchard says, oh, this is regarding the other subject that Tom referred to earlier. Matt, the other day you were laughing at people who stopped watching sports because of the kneeling issue, and they have actually ruined sports for me. I haven't watched an NFL or an NBA game since this whole thing started. Veterans deserve more respect. Okay, well, there's a little bit to dissect there. So, and whatever criticisms I say, Tom, I say with love. You know, I appreciate you're a loyal listener, and I consider you a friend, and so I appreciate you, even though we disagree on some things, obviously. I don't remember the other day laughing at people who stopped watching sports because of the kneeling issue. I might have. I can't remember everything I've done. I mean, was I laughing, like laughing, or was I chuckling, or was I just speaking in a mocking tone? I don't know. Hey, Tom, listen, I mean, you have your right. If you don't, if something offends you and you want to stop watching sports because of it, that's your right. You know, you're taking a stand. If you want to boycott something like the NFL or the NBA because you don't like what's going on, that's your right, brother. I don't begrudge you that at all. I'm not a sports fan. Maybe if I were a sports fan, I'd be more invested in that way. I'm not, so I don't care if you watch or not. I don't watch, but I don't watch not out of being offended by anything. I just don't watch because I don't care. But as far as the veterans deserve more respect, well, I think veterans deserve all the respect in the world. That's why another thing, speaking of healthcare, veterans, the way veterans fall through the cracks in our healthcare system is particularly obscene in this country. And veterans should absolutely 100%, all of their care should be completely covered. And that should never be a question, but of course it is. We treat our veterans very poorly in this country. I mean, some veterans will tell you they get great care at the VA, so it's not all veterans who suffer. Some veterans will tell you they love the VA, the Veterans Administration, and that was something that apparently did improve under Trump. You know, credit where due. I have heard veterans, including John Hopwood, and John Hopwood hates Trump, but even John Hopwood has said that the VA did improve. So that's good. That's a good thing. So to answer, or at least partially answer Ron's question, that is something that did improve under Trump. So credit where due for that. But it should be much better than it is. And again, it should be, everything should be paid for. And, we can afford to buy all the weapons in the world for Ukraine, which I support, by the way, but somehow we just can't make sure that our veterans are taken care of. There's a little bit of cruel irony to that, isn't there? Right? We have a bottomless pit of money. Again, I support Ukraine, but we have a bottomless pit of money to buy weapons to send to Ukraine to help them fight off the Russians. So we have all the money in the world to help them with their war, but we just can't find the money to make sure that every veteran in this country gets the care that they need. We have veterans in this country who are homeless. The phrase homeless veteran, that it's offensive that that's even a thing, that's even a part of the American vernacular, that I can even sit here and talk about homeless veterans. The word homeless actually being in front of veteran is a crime, right? But it is, because it happens. We just can't find the money to fix that problem, I guess. But as far as the veterans deserve more respect, Tom. So I don't know if you're, I don't know if that last part is directed, if you're directing that toward me, which is fine if you are, or if you're just speaking more broadly, or if that's more of a criticism of, say, Kaepernick when you talk about kneeling. Or Brittany Griner with her criticisms of the national anthem. But see, I see it differently. I see it as people exercising their First Amendment right, which veterans fought for. And in the case of Kaepernick, by the way, Tom, and you might know this, I know we've talked about it on the show, when Colin Kaepernick was figuring out what the best way to protest would be, when he decided that he wanted to do something during the national anthem. It was actually a veteran whom he consulted with who said, well, don't turn your back or anything like that, but maybe instead of standing, maybe you kneel. Don't turn away so you're still facing the flag, you're still front facing, but you're kneeling instead of standing. And maybe that will be a good way to, because that's not disrespectful, or so that veteran felt. You're not turning your back or anything like that, but you are doing something different from what everyone else is doing, and that gets attention for your cause. And when the Kaepernick thing first started, there were a lot of veterans who felt just like you did, Tom. There were a lot of veterans who were angry and, this guy's disrespecting the flag. But there were also a lot of veterans who spoke up and said, actually, there were some veterans who were sympathetic to the cause, of course. Obviously, veterans are not a monolith, right? But there were also a lot of veterans who spoke up and said, wait a minute, I am bothered by this, but I might not agree with him, but I fought for his right to do that. He's an American citizen, and I fought for his First Amendment right to do that. So ultimately, it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It doesn't matter whether I agree with it or not. I fought for his right to do that. So it's complex, Tom. So that would be the issue that I would take with your comment about veterans deserve more respect. Veterans deserve all the respect in the world, but just keep in mind, not everyone agrees that that kind of protest is disrespectful to veterans. I certainly don't think it's disrespectful to veterans. Tom says, not towards you, Matt. The whole kneeling thing is disrespectful to me, Brittany included. Yeah, again, I disagree. Well, my feelings about it. I just explained it, but I disagree. And by the way, too, as far as Brittany Griner, I've been thinking about it, and I was reflecting on, and I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but just going back to what I was saying the other day about what Brittany Griner said. People were angry at her because of her comments about the national anthem, and she pointed out that, obviously when the national anthem was written, black people didn't have the same rights as everybody else, obviously, right? Historically. So that's why it bothered her, and that's why she didn't feel like it should be played at games, especially where you have these athletes who are predominantly black. She felt it was disrespectful toward black Americans to have this song played, that was written when these people didn't have the same rights as white Americans. And when I saw that's what she had said that had everyone up in arms, I thought about it and I said, I understand why she feels that way. I've never felt that way about the anthem, but in trying to be empathetic to her point of view, I can see where, if I were black, I might agree with her completely. I might feel like, Brittany, you got a point there. We didn't have the same rights as everybody else when that song was written. That makes sense. So, I get it. To the extent that I can get it as a white guy from white New Hampshire. I mean, there's a limit to how much I can get it, right? I can't walk in her shoes, but that made sense to me when I read that. I thought, I can see why she feels that way, and I can respect why she feels that way and respect her right to protest. Hi, welcome to Matt Connerton Unleashed. Who's this?
This is Scott Robinson, Matt.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I just got two quick comments. I know you're going to break.
Sure.
Kaepernick does have the right to protest as anybody else does.
Yes.
But what put me over the top with him, I've Facebook texted you this before. He wore the socks that had pigs dressed up in cops on the field.
Oh yes, I remember that.
That was over the top. And in response to Tom Blanchard is, the only reason why they even started doing the national anthem before games is because the Department of Defense or Army, Navy, paid to have them do it.
Scott, I am so glad you said that. That's a great point, and I completely forgot about that. But you're right. In fact, most people don't know that. Scott, do me a favor. Say that one more time. Repeat what you just said, because people don't know that.
It could have been individually the Army or the Navy or the Department of Defense. They paid for advertising to have the national anthem and before games. They never used to do that ever.
Right. That 100% true. Like they even pay for like when they do flyovers, when they have the Air Force do flyovers at the Super Bowl or whatever that. Yeah, the Department of Defense pays for all that. It's a recruiting tool. It's to recruit people in the military and yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, Scott. Most people do not know that. I didn't know that until a few years ago, and I was surprised to learn that. Yeah, so I'm really glad you brought that up. That's important for context.
Yeah, so, do I agree with kneeling? No, I don't. But it's your right as a free American to do it. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to lambaste you for doing it.
Yeah.
So that's just my deal, Matt. Have a great night.
All right, Scott. Thank you so much. I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
All right, you got it. Bye-bye. Always nice to hear from Scott. If anyone, we are late for a break. Fortunately, I don't have a hard break, so we can, I can push it off a little bit longer. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. If anyone does want to get in with a quick call. Tom Blanchard said this whole thing was really about police brutality, but it turned into this. Well, the thing is, Scott, Tom, rather, sorry. It can be about whatever. It can be about whatever anyone wants to protest about. That's the thing, Somebody can protest about police brutality. They can protest about larger issues. This is it's the United States of America. Everyone's free to protest. And as Jefferson is often credited with saying, I say often credited because I know that there is some dispute historically about whether he actually said it. But whoever said it deserves credit. Dissent is the essence of patriotism. And in other words, using your right, using your First Amendment right, using your rights why did we fight the Revolutionary War? Because we wanted the right to be free from the king. People are using their rights. And I would just add something too. I personally, and I'm not somebody who feels a lot of, I don't know, people call it white guilt or whatever. I don't get into that. I mean, it's, we're all how we were born. But I will tell you, I personally am really uncomfortable with, as a white person, trying to make a lot of judgments about how black people choose to protest. To begin with, that just feels weird to me. It feels weird that I don't know. I'm always a little bit. I wish I had a better word for it. This is probably the least elegant or eloquent way possible of putting it. But white people judging how black people protest, it just feels, I wish I had a better word. It just feels icky to me. I know of all the words, right? Icky, but it's the one that fits. It just feels icky to me, and I have heard some activists make the observation when, and again, I noticed a lot of this too when Kaepernick started and a lot of white people started freaking out and getting angry. I noticed some black activists speaking up and saying, it's really interesting. White people tell us, oh yeah, you can protest all you want to as long as it's not violent. And then, so here's an example of perfectly non-violent protest. And then white people say, oh, we didn't mean that kind of nonviolence. It's like, so there's a, I think there becomes this idea of, wow, we can't win. You tell us you don't want violent protests, which, by the way, I agree. I don't want violent protests. That's where I draw the line. The moment you resort to violence, you've given away your argument. You've ceded the moral high ground on anything, in my opinion. But then it's like, so we say, okay, well, no violence, right? So here's someone, whether it's Colin Kaepernick kneeling or Brittany Griner pointing out why or explaining why she has a problem with the national anthem, and still white people go, oh, look at these black people. I don't like the way they're protesting. I don't like the way they're speaking up. I don't know. I, as a white person, look, I mean, don't get me wrong. You have the right. Tom, if you have a problem with it, Scott, if you have a problem with it, you're Americans. You have the right to speak up. I'm not saying don't speak up. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the interaction in the chat room. I appreciate all of it. And just as I will speak up for their right to express their opinions, I would also speak up for, and I am speaking up for your rights to express yours. I'm just telling you personally, as a white person, I would not be comfortable making those judgments. I'll make, if there's violence involved, like I know that there were some BLM rallies where it gets exaggerated, but there were BLM rallies where there was violence a couple of summers ago. And listen, I don't approve of that. I decry and condemn all violence, whether it's at a BLM rally or whether it's an insurrection at the nation's capital. Little bit of a false equivalence. I think one is much more severe than the other. Obviously, the insurrection involves people attempting to interfere with a process of our federal government, and those people are domestic terrorists, in my view. But I condemn all violence. But I, as a white guy, am not going to say, well, I don't like the way that black person protests, because here's the problem. Is protest supposed to make everyone feel comfortable? I don't think so. Isn't the idea to get attention and to put light on an issue, to draw attention to an issue that someone is concerned about? I don't think, how can there be protests that doesn't make someone feel uncomfortable? I think that's kind of the point, right? To draw attention, you draw attention to whatever it is that you're protesting about, and you have to make people feel uncomfortable in the process of that, don't you? Can you have protest without that just doesn't bother anybody? I don't think you can. I don't think that would work. I don't think that would be protest. So who am I to say, which is why and I'm not anyone to say it, which is why I don't say it. Again, if you want to say it, it's your right. But I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to be the one to say, well, I don't approve of how that person is protesting. Ooh, the way that person is choosing to protest, ooh, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like to see that. So I don't approve of that. I'm bothered by that. I'm not going to do that. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to do that. I approve of every American's right to protest as long as they do it in a way that, again, is not violent. I don't want things getting broken. I don't approve of riots and things like that. Even if it's a Zoot Suit riot. I mean, that's pretty cool. Everybody running around in Zoot Suits, I guess. But I never liked that song, and I don't like that. I don't like violence. I participated in a BLM rally or two here locally, and there was no violence there. And if there had been, I would have left. But so that's my view of it. But I can't wrap my head. Honestly, I know I'm repeating myself a little bit here, and we do need to get a break. But I honestly cannot wrap my head around the idea that protest is something that everyone should be comfortable with. The whole idea is to get your attention and make you uncomfortable so that you'll become interested in what it is that they're protesting about, and maybe, just maybe, you'll become interested in that issue. Protest that doesn't make anyone uncomfortable isn't protest. It's nothing. What is it? You know what I mean? Like with Kaepernick, people will say, oh, well, why does he have to do it at an NFL game? Couldn't he just go do it where people aren't going to see it? I've literally heard people say those exact words. Can't he just go do it somewhere where people aren't going to see it? Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, he should just go do that where no one's going to see it. So no one ever knows he does it. So no one ever knows that he has a concern about police brutality. Right? So in other words, so I guess really, if your argument is for protest so if you're okay with protest as long as it doesn't make anyone uncomfortable, then maybe what you're really saying is you're not okay with protest. You know, some people are not okay with protest unless it's something that they care about. But part of that too is, guys, listen, I've said on the show before, I was precocious growing up as far as I became interested in politics and and social issues and so forth at an unhealthily young age, as I like to say. I became interested in politics at a very young age, to the point that other people in my class thought I was weird because I would come to school and say to friends of mine, "Hey, did you watch the debate last night?" And they're all looking at me like, "You actually watched a debate?" And something that I figured out at a very young age, there's some things I figured out pretty young. And one of them I had figured out by, I was probably no older than 10 or 11 years old at most. I had figured out that when people talk about, this is again, from the point of view of a child, I remember having these thoughts about, okay, so when grown-ups talk about things like freedom of speech, what they really mean most of the time is freedom of speech, as long as whatever you're saying is something I agree with. If you're saying something that bothers me, I'm not really into it. Oh, but I support freedom of speech. Oh, and when grown-ups talk about freedom of expression, what they really mean is freedom of expression as long as you're expressing yourself in a way that I approve of and doesn't make me even the tiniest bit uncomfortable. That's what adults really mean when they talk about freedom of expression. See, I knew this from a young age, so that's why none of this surprises me. Nothing about this discussion surprises me. Nothing about people being freaked out by a black man kneeling on a football field before an NFL game surprises me, because I had that figured out when I was 10 years old. People will wrap themselves in the flag and talk about how much, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but that doesn't mean they literally mean it. It's very, very highly conditional. And I realized that when I was a wee lad, a young urchin. Wasn't hard to figure out. Figured out a lot of things about human nature when I was a young lad. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's almost 5:30. Let's take a break. I'm going to play another track from the Stone Road Band. This is Brutus. Stone Road Band, the singer and I assume one of the songwriters. I've got to get him on the show so I can interview him, ask him all these questions. But Kevin Horan, he is playing at the Hop Knot Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. doing the solo acoustic singer-songwriter thing. But he's also in this amazing band, the Stone Road Band. This is a great track. This is Brutus. We're going to play this. We're going to show some love to our amazing sponsors, and then we'll come back with the balance of our program. The time goes much, much too quickly here on the show, but don't go away. There's more to come.
Not enough time for exist. We're fighting no movement, but can't resist. No, it's a shame when you're buried alive. You don't jump and you'll never get high. Slow down what you got, take another leap, leap to the other side. I feel a lot of love, but I see a lot of hate going around. Come together just to see this and hope to be found. It's easier to stay on the ground. Oh, you never loud without wings, death coming down. Yeah, it's easier to stay on the ground. We'll never loud without wings, sleep in the cloud. But it's easier to stay on the ground. Oh, you'll never loud without wings, death coming down.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Everybody, welcome back to the final segment today of Matt Connerton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners from across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2022. By the way, I do want to remind you, of course, tonight is Industry Night at the Hop Knot, and tomorrow night is Trivia Night, of course, hosted by the great Bill Cini. You can hear Bill on the morning show on Wednesday mornings, as he was today, doing trivia. And then Thursday nights, he is at across the street at our wonderful friends, the Hop Knot. However, I have been advised today that they are having an issue with their phone line at the Hop Knot. So the reason I bring that up is if you want to reserve a spot for Trivia Night, it is important to reserve a spot ahead of time because, as Bill Cini always reminds us, and as Kenny has told me as well, those spots fill up very quickly. So therefore, what you should do is message the Hop Knot on social media, on Instagram or on Facebook. Send them a message and let them know that you want to reserve a spot over there because you can't call them. Unless in the time that I've been on the air, the phone issue has been fixed, which is possible. So you can try giving them a call. But if you cannot reach them by phone, message them. Again, those spots fill up very quickly. Trivia Night is an extraordinarily popular feature at the Hop Knot. And Friday night at the Hop Knot, they have Kevin Horan is playing live from 7 to 9 p.m., which is why I did play, going into the break, another track from this great band that he's in, the Stone Road Band. That song is called Brutus. I love this band, and I love his solo material, too. Yesterday, I played some of his Kevin's solo material on the show, which is what he does at the Hop Knot when he does appear there. So he'll be there Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. But check him out and check out the Stone Road Band. Great stuff. Great stuff. 603-250-6007 is the number if you'd like to chime in today. 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me while you still can, while Twitter is still a thing. It could go away any day now. Tweet me at Matt Connerton. Of course, you can send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com, and you're always welcome to interact and opine in the Facebook Live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. I have a bunch of stuff I wanted to get to today, and we're really not getting to much of any of it because it's been a very busy show, and we got sidetracked with this subject. But I'm not complaining. I actually enjoy it when that happens, and I love the interaction, even though I disagree with some of you, and you're getting me fired up. But that's okay. I love it. It's actually a big part of why I do this. And by the way, I never take anything having to do with the show personally, and I hope the audience understands that and feels the same way too. Because we've been getting some calls, and we have some people are commenting in the chat room. So we're actually going to stay on the subject that I had no intentions of talking about today, but we touched on Brittany Griner earlier, and that got us into a discussion about Colin Kaepernick, and we're going to probably stick with that for the duration of the show. Not that there's any new news on Kaepernick, but if you're talking about Brittany Griner, you end up talking about Colin Kaepernick. That's kind of the way it goes. So I'll push the other stuff off because I do see some things in the chat room that I want to react to, and I just don't think we'll have a chance to get to anything else today. But that's fine. Like I said, I actually enjoy it when that happens. It's kind of the adventure of doing a show like this. You never know where you might end up, and that's cool with me. So 603-250-6007 is the number if you'd like to chime in. 603-250-6007. We do have a little bit of time left today, so don't put it off. But N Saturn in the chat room says, we say protest to be protest, # Matt. I see. Gonzo is in the chat room, which reminds me, by the way, Gonzo is going to be joining us Friday night. Speaking of Friday night, Gonzo is going to be joining us here for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And that will be Gonzo's first appearance on that program. So really looking forward to that. He'll be with us Friday night from 8 to 11 p.m. right here on WMNH 95.3. I assume this is in response to the a comment or something I said earlier about I support everyone's right to protest. And Gonzo said, unless it's with a camera looking in a government office. Now, of course, what Gonzo is referring to, I assume, is we did a whole segment recently about, I think it ended up being a couple of segments about my objection to what the guy from Press NH Now does, where he, for example, he recently showed up at that office. I had it wrong, by the way. I thought it was the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. It was not. But it was something connected to that. But anyway, the guy, he shows up, he's filming these women, which is an important part of why it bothered me. Because to me, Gonzo, to answer your comment, what that guy does is not protest. What that guy does, in my view, is a form of stalking. And I object to that. Stalking and harassing women, I object to that. Miriam Banish in the chat room says, I want to talk about context. When is something cancel culture instead of protest? Such as in the case of LGBTQIA plus people basically non-violently protesting by, for example, canceling their Netflix accounts. Well, I don't think of that. So, again, it always gets tricky when we have to talk about definition of terms. Very often in political discourse, for example, you'll have, I observe this a lot, actually, and it happens on the show sometimes. You'll have people arguing about something, but they're not necessarily arguing about the same thing. They think that they are, but they don't realize that they're not, because they might be arguing about a specific term or concept, but if the term or concept doesn't mean the same thing to both people involved in the dialogue, then they end up not arguing about the same thing, but they don't realize it. So to me, I only say that to say when we talk about cancel culture, I don't think of cancel culture as like people canceling their Netflix accounts because they want to protest something about Netflix. I don't think of that as protest. Well, I think of that as boycotting. So the people who are canceling their Netflix accounts, I would use the word boycott, which is a form of protest, obviously. But cancel culture to me, Miriam, means more when somebody does something that people find so egregious that they then try to force that person to be deplatformed in some way or forced off the air. You know, if someone says something or does something that people find offensive, and then they immediately mobilize, usually utilizing social media, to get that person deplatformed in some way. That's what I consider cancel culture, and then that person becomes quote unquote canceled. And Saturn says, we say hashtag Matt. It is so true. Oh, thank you. Now here we get, so our friend from Crystal from Illinois said this. My problem with Kaepernick is him making millions from Nike. He protests slavery, which isn't the issue. The issue is Nike has a long-standing history of using slave labor in factories in poor countries. Technically, the millions Cap makes from Nike comes off the backs of modern-day slaves. What is the difference between him and the slave owners from America's past? Absolutely nothing. It's blood money. So what I would say to that, Crystal, is, first of all, the problem you have raised about Nike, I agree with you 100%, 100% legitimate thing to raise. However, what I don't agree with is the way you're doing it, because what you're doing is, and I see Rocky doing it, and I see Tom doing it. And again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. We're just having a discussion here. Don't anyone take any, remember, I don't take any of this personally, so I hope nobody else does, but I like doing a show where we can have honest dialogue without anyone's feelings getting hurt. I think is very healthy. It's something I take pride in here. So don't take anything I say personally. However, what you're all doing is you're doing the thing I was talking about before. White people saying, okay, I'm not going to approve of that black person protesting because I'm going to put all sorts of conditions on that black person protesting. So in other words, I need to find, because that black person is protesting in a way that makes me as a white person uncomfortable, I'm going to find whatever excuse I can to somehow not approve of it. So that's what I feel that you're doing there, Crystal. It's the same as what Rocky's doing when Rocky says Kaepernick was the wrong spokesperson for the cause, seeing as he was adopted by a white couple and given a chance at life, he was really oppressed, LOL. Well, again, okay, so because he was adopted by a white couple, he has no right to be concerned and express his concern and take up that cause of police brutality? How do you, Rocky, you have no idea what he's been through. He may have been adopted by a white couple, but he's still black. What, do you think that if he's, they call it driving while black. If you're a black person and you're driving an expensive car in a certain kind of neighborhood and you get pulled over by the police for no other reason than they see a black person driving an expensive car, so they say, oh, he must be a drug dealer, so they pull him over. Do you think that the police officer who pulls him over for driving while black somehow changes his mind because he says, oh, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't pull him over. He might have been adopted by a white couple. So, never mind. I'm not going to bother him. I mean, come on. You have no idea what his experiences are. Just because he was adopted by a white couple, do you think he hasn't experienced racism? You're making some huge assumptions there. Yeah, good. He was adopted by a white couple. Wonderful. I'm glad he was adopted at all. I don't like kids to not have families. But what does that prove, Rocky? That for you to say that would be like earlier, in the first hour of the show, we also had a conversation about healthcare. And we were talking about, Shannon brought it up on the phone about teeth and about not being able to get, if you need work on your teeth and not being able to get Medicare to pay for it and this and that. And I was talking about the importance of taking care of your teeth because the health of your teeth affects the health of the rest of you. But using your logic, Rocky, I probably shouldn't have been talking about that, should I? I probably should not have been expressing my rage at the fact that there are Americans who, because our healthcare system is the way it is, there are Americans in this country right now. And it's genuine rage. I mean, it really makes me upset that there are Americans in this country who cannot get access to adequate dental care because of the way our healthcare system is. Millions of Americans who can't get access to the dental care they need because they can't afford it. But, Rocky, according to your logic, I shouldn't speak out about that. I shouldn't speak up. I have perfect teeth, and I do. Not to brag, but I've never even had a cavity. I've never in my life, I've not had one single cavity. Again, not because I do anything special or anything. I got lucky genetically on that. Both my parents have super teeth, so I do too. I just got lucky with the genetics. But according to your logic, Rocky, I've never had any teeth problems, so I shouldn't speak out for people who do and need dental work and can't get it, I guess, right? But what's really going on here is, again, it's what you guys are doing is it's your white people saying, I've got to find, okay, this black person protesting makes me uncomfortable in some way. So I need to find whatever I can reach for, whether it's Nike, whether it's, he was adopted by a white couple, so he should just shut up. Whatever it is, I got to find to justify my own being uncomfortable and to put conditions on his protest. Because like I was saying earlier, I don't think protest is supposed to make everyone comfortable. And I don't think protest is supposed to have conditions put on it other than, of course, you can't do anything violent and you can't damage someone's property or infringe on someone else's liberty or safety. But you're looking for whatever conditions you can put on him. Just like you all do with Brittany Griner, right? It's the same, not that you all do that, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, how about this? Wouldn't it just be more productive to say, okay, I need to learn more about the, whatever it is, the issue that this person is protesting about. And maybe in the process of doing that, I will even maybe learn to be less uncomfortable with the fact that this person is protesting, because apparently it freaks me out so much. I have to find whatever reason I can find to have a big problem with it. I mean, let's be honest about what's really going on here. And Saturn says, we say that is extraordinary, #Crystal. Let's see. Melanie says in the chat, he had a platform on the national stage. Good for him for using it. That's the whole point. Melanie also said, you don't think he was pulled over? Oh, my point. You don't think he was pulled over and more likely to get shot than a white person because of his upbringing? Right. Exactly, Melanie. Exactly. Does he walk around wearing a T-shirt that says "I was adopted by white parents"? I mean, why would that matter? Rocky says in the chat, "Go to my hometown, Lawrence, Mass, with your Vermont plates and your white skin. I guarantee you will be pulled over and searched for drugs." Okay. I mean, I've been to Lawrence with my New Hampshire plates and my white skin, and I've not been pulled over and searched for drugs. But I know Lawrence is a rough. Well, actually, there are some nice neighborhoods in Lawrence. It's not all bad. But let's see. Melanie said Rocky Huber doubtful. Crystal says, as he makes bank off slave labor, I agree on good for him on using his national platform for change, but I disagree on his hypocrisy. Be against slavery for everyone, not just his own people, then making his wealth off slave labor, shake my head, counteracts everything he claims to stand for, fraud. I disagree. I think you're making quite a judgment there. By the way, I don't remember him protesting slavery. I thought he was protesting police brutality. So I'm not even sure where the hypocrisy is there. Melanie says, knock it off. We are all benefiting from slave labor. God forbid we pay higher prices at the pump or at the store. Everyone loses their minds. Yeah, that's true. Tom says, where else can you make millions of dollars playing a freaking game? Melanie says, so can someone tell me the salary limit of a black or brown person can make before they lose the right to protest? Yeah, Melanie gets it. I appreciate you, Melanie. Melanie says, everyone is saying he was making too much money to be upset, so I assume there is a cap. Yep. Melanie says, not supporting an athlete is not the same as not supporting his right to dissent. Let's see. We're not going to get through all these. We're running out of time. I'm trying to look for the... Crystal and Melanie are arguing over the slave labor thing. Well, again, I can't. I'm sorry, Crystal. Again, I think we can all agree slave labor is bad, but I'm not going to say someone has no or disregard someone's protest about a certain issue because because they make money off of Nike or some other company. I mean, I think there are two separate issues, and I think you're kind of using that as a mechanism for discrediting Kaepernick. I'm not buying it. Of course, I don't buy Nikes either. Good argument going on in there. Chris Rose from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts joins us in the chat. Nick Murdoch says Nike is evil, but I don't know how much that matters, honestly. All corporations are evil, and yeah, he's got a better life than a lot of us, but that gives him a much bigger platform, and he's using it. Exactly. I'm with you, Nick. Melanie says, but talking about Cap is talking about the suppression of minorities in America, and were we just talking about his football stats? Well, I certainly wasn't, because I know nothing about football. Miriam says, I still can't wrap my head around cancel culture as a term. I feel like the rules about racism are different from rules about transphobia and homophobia, etc. Yeah, that's too big a conversation to get into now because we're almost out of show. But I think I get where you're going with that, Miriam. That is an interesting discussion to have, definitely. Tom Blanchard says, to me, classifying someone black or white is a little racial. Why can't we just be people? Well, that would be the ideal, Tom. That would be the ideal. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, but I'd love to get there. I'll be honest with you. I don't even like using the word race, actually. Race to me is a social construct. I prefer the term ethnicity. Scott Robinson says in the chat, for anyone who owns an Apple product or anyone who has an electric car or anyone who buys Nike, Adidas, what you're all contributing to slave labor, they're not the same thing, what we're talking about today. I think Scott was agreeing with me, although I'm not entirely sure. I think Scott uses voice to text. Rocky says, what about Hunter's laptop? LOL. Yeah. Crystal says, Cat protested the Betsy Ross flag a few years ago for slavery. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that now. I think I had forgotten about that. And Saturn says, we are back, #Matt. Well, we never watched sports. And also that we've been looking up of the 60s songs, like our favorite is the Beatles, the Zombies, the Dave Clark 5 songs, and others. Crystal says, I'm not disregarding his right to protest. Okay, good. Scott says, yes, I'm using voice to text because I'm driving. Let's see. All right, one more comment, and then we got to go. We're out of time. Crystal says, I personally do not like him personally because of his affiliation with Nike. I know nothing on his football and am not against his police brutality protests. Oh, okay. It was his protest against the Betsy Ross flag while being a spokesperson for Nike that uses slave labor. Okay, that actually, that does make sense to me, Crystal. Okay, I see what you mean. I'm glad you clarified that. So you said there that you are not against his police brutality protests, but that you had a problem with the Betsy Ross flag protest because of his affiliation with Nike. Okay, actually, that makes sense to me, Crystal, and I may have misunderstood, and I apologize if I did. That makes sense. That does make sense to me. Absolutely. And Saturn says, we say protest to be protest, #Matt. You know what we mean? Yes. Okay. On that. Oh, yes. Wow. We are out of time. All right. We got to go, you guys. We have got to go. Well, thank you for the dialogue and the discussion today. It's a provocative subject, but that's part of the fun of doing this show. We didn't get to really much of anything that I had planned, but that's okay. Like I said, that's the adventure of it all. Let's see. If you are listening live on Wednesday, I believe up next is a replay of last Friday's Granite State of Mind with the great Rob Azevedo and his co-host Paulie Stone. They make a great team. That will be coming up next year on WMNH. And as far as this program, if you missed any part of today's show, we will be back tomorrow, of course, but you can, if you miss any part of this show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnerton.com. We'll leave you with a little bit more of the Stone Road Band. And I'm out of here. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
Don't let them see you this way. And if you take